Well, good evening, everyone. Good to be in your companies once again. This is your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to share with you. As always, this is Phenomenal Leadership. We've got an absolutely beautiful program for you tonight. So I want you to reach out to your friends and let them know that we're live. Want everybody, as you come on in, like and share. I really thank God so much. We're seeing twice a week. We're seeing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Then again, we're on two platforms. We're on Facebook, and of course, we are on YouTube. Facebook, the Voice of Deliverance Organization, and Edlin Scott's page. My YouTube page is Edlin Scott. Hey, everyone, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications as to when I am going to be live. Now, this is an absolutely beautiful year. This is an absolutely beautiful year. If you saw my banner at the top of the broadcast talking about this year is the year of increase. 2023 is the year of increase. And I believe that with all of my heart. In fact, I just came from prayer meeting. And in prayer meeting, as I began to pray, I said, Lord, I don't just want to be involved in the fight. I want to win the fight. Whatever your battles are, whether it is spiritual, whether it is health, whether it's finances, whether it's against your mind, whether it's your family, your job, church, wherever, whatever. I don't just want to be a participant in it. I want to win. And I believe that 2023 is the year that you're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win with your health condition. You're going to win with your finances. You're going to win with those children. You're going to win in that relationship. You're going to win in your career. You're going to win holistically. It's all about winning. It's not just about participating. You know, you come out of it with scars and no winning. And listen, this is the year for winning. So I want to encourage you to hang out with me tonight for this broadcast. Going to be up about 30 minutes or so. So hang with me for the broadcast. Let's see where God is taking us. We're talking about growth. Now, my anniversary begins on February 12th. February 12th begins Morning Glory anniversary. I want you to come and celebrate with us. February 12th. Now, that's a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. in the morning is the anniversary. And so I want you to come and be a part of it. Your way of giving back to me. Your way of giving back to me. For many years, we've been doing this Morning Glory service. And the anniversary is on February 12th. My theme is increase, John 10:10. The thief come but to kill, steal, and destroy. But I am come that you may have life, and that you may have it more abundantly. Let's jump into tonight's teaching, because we got an absolutely beautiful teaching for you tonight. So, if we're talking about increase, let me show you something. Increase is about becoming or making greater in size, amount, or degrees. The broadcast tonight is another part of growth. So growth is to undergo a natural development by increasing in size and changing physically. That's growth. Every one of you watching me tonight has the potential for growth. And so potential is something that God has given to everybody. What is potential? Potential is having or showing the capacity to develop into something in the future. So it is in you to become something in the future. So we had a great talk about it on the broadcast on Tuesday night. And so tonight we're going to be talking about the law of growth. Number one, in the law of growth, growth doesn't just happen. So we're talking tonight about the law of intentionality. intentionality. All right? So, it's not about, it is your intention, not random, or it is intention. Growth doesn't just happen. Tonight we're going to talk about it. Next week, God's for Life, we're going to go into the other two that is a part of the law of growth. So, tonight we're talking about the law of intentionality. Growth isn't automatic. Growth is not automatic. So you could just hang around and think growth is going to happen. No. Growth isn't something where you're going to buck up into it or just hang around and wait and see what happens. Growth is not automatic. You must go out of your way to seize growth opportunities. You must go out of your way to seize growth opportunities. Remember David. Had David not confronted the lion and the bear, every opportunity, the lion and the bear would have come in and take away one of his sheep. But because David was concerned about growth, David decides, I'm going to confront the lion and the bear. That's why when David comes down to the battle and he see how the giant, the Philistine giant, is talking about the armies of God and how everybody's scared and nobody want to fight, he saw this another opportunity to grow. And so a lot of times, a lot of people may not see your lion and the bear story. And so they feel like you're just standing around waiting on an opportunity or waiting for something to just happen. But David had an opportunity on an encounter with a lion and a bear, and nobody knew of it. So when he rehearsed the story to them, he said, look here, I ain't just showing up. I have had an encounter with a lion and a bear. So therefore, this uncircumcised Philistine, I'm able to deal with it. So growth is not automatic. You must go out of your way. You must go out of your way to grow or to seize growth opportunities. And you may find that there is a need to overcome. And I'm sure you will find that there's a need to overcome some of the mistakes in belief. One of the beliefs that I had as a child growing up was, they said, you never point your hand towards a graveyard. If you point your hand towards a graveyard, your fingers will rotten off. So I didn't point my hand towards a graveyard. They say you ball your fist. And so every time I was talking about the graveyard and the direction of the graveyard, I balled my fist so my fingers couldn't drop off. They say, if you see a black cat, then you don't go in that direction, you go in a different direction. And so we did that. The little island that I grew up on, there was such a respect for the church that if there was only two roads or two ways you can get from up the road to down the road, or up the street to down the street. There's the main road, or you can go by the seaside. So if church started, because church is like in the middle of the settlement, if church started and you didn't pass before church started, you would either have to wait on the other side or go by the seaside. That's the belief. That was the belief. There are a lot of beliefs that has us held up. There are a lot of beliefs that just has us held up. There are a lot of beliefs that put gaps in our life. So, could you imagine standing by the door, thinking that it's locked. So you never really turn the key because you feel like the door locked. You never try the knob. You're just standing there thinking that the door is locked. So there's a gap. Wrong beliefs put a gap in your life. So you can never connect with what you need to do. You get to a place and you stop because of wrong belief, and so the two never connect. So even though you have potential in you, you are not connecting because of a lot of wrong beliefs. And we're going to explore some of the wrong beliefs that people have that putting a gap between them and them fulfilling their potential. Each of us, God gave us that. God gave us the potential to be great. Every one of you watching me tonight have the potential of being great. Every one of you have the potential to win. Whatever your struggle is tonight, you have the potential in you to win. But wrong belief will cause you not even challenge. David did not have the wrong belief like Saul and all the other soldiers. David believed, I could do this. In fact, they even tried to convince him that you can't do this. David said, man, I could do this because I didn't kill a lion and a bear. So growth is not automatic. It ain't just automatically happen. You got to go your way to seize growth opportunities. You got to go there to watch some Facebook. Some people talking some stuff on Facebook. Not everything gonna be good, but you got to determine what can help your spirit. What gonna help your life. Buy some books. Not every book is good. It's a good book. Buy some books. Position yourself. Leaders must create an environment for growth. Leaders must create an environment for growth. When you create that environment for growth, you make people that comes into your space be able to benefit out of it. Because remember what we said earlier? This year is the year to become or be made greater in size, amount, or degrees. This is the year to undergo a natural development by increasing in size and changing physically. Because you have the potential. You have the potential to make this happen. Every one of you have the potential of making this happen. So here we go. I want to share with you some of the wrong beliefs. Some of the wrong beliefs that are hindering growth. Let's look at some wrong beliefs that are hindering growth. Wrong belief creates gap between you and your potential. The wrong way of thinking, the wrong way of doing things presents gaps in it. Here's a gap. Here's a gap that a lot of people is faced with. Assumption. You assume that I will automatically grow. A lot of people just feel like, just let me hang right there and I can automatically grow. Can I tell you something? Growth is absolutely necessary. Growth is absolutely necessary. You have to know who you are, or you have to know who you are if you want to grow. And you have to grow to know who you are. So growth is a part of the story. So the assumption, the wrong belief or the wrong teaching we've got is you ain't got to do nothing. You could just automatically grow. So you assume that you will automatically grow. Then another wrong thing is, another gap that comes in our life is the gap of knowledge. I don't know how to grow. So I ain't doing nothing because I don't know how to do it. I'm not trying to make myself better because I don't know how to do it. So you assume that you're automatically going to become better. Then when your excuse for not doing anything, and what you're going to find with the law of intentionality is it's all about being stuck, not moving. So knowledge, I don't know how to do it. That's why I'm not doing anything. That's why I'm not growing, because I don't know how to grow. Timing is another thing that puts gap. You come to a certain place and then you stop. Timing puts a gap in there. All right? it is not the right time to begin. When you, if you look at the story of David, when David came to the battle, because those boys was afraid, they give him all kind of stories about the giant, why you can't do it. All right? When Moses sent the men over to view the land, because they was afraid and not willing to grow, they find all kind of stories. Yes, the city is there, but they have a wall, and it ain't no short wall. It's a really high wall. And even if we get through the wall, then we can't even deal with the men. The men, they are very tall. In fact, we look like grasshoppers to them. We so tiny to them. Timing. Timing is very important. It is not the right time to begin. So that's another thing. That's another wrong belief that put gaps between you and your potential. The next thing is mistakes. I'm afraid to make a mistake. If I start this, I may mess this right up. You mess up your growth by not starting. Nothing wrong with making mistakes. The problem is when you do not learn from the mistakes. See, and nothing wrong with making a mistake. There's something wrong with making the same mistake over and over again. Then here's another common one. Perfection. The gap of perfection. The reason why I do not want to grow or try to grow is because I'm trying to find the best way to grow before I start. Before I start my fasting, I want to figure out the best way to fast, the best days to fast on, what exactly to do. Perfection. The next one. The next thing that brings gap is inspiration. I ain't doing nothing because I don't feel like doing nothing. How could you not feel like growing? How can you not feel like growing? How can you not be inspired to grow? You should be inspired to grow. Because you have to know know who you are to grow to your potential. But you have to grow in order to know who you are. The Bible says a story about a child. And the Bible says a child different nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all. A child or children will play with children until one child find out that, hey, I'm the boss, or I'm the master child, or I'm your boss. I'm your boss child. And then they separate themselves. So until you know who you are, then you're going to feel some kind of way. So, got to be inspired. All right? Then, the other thing that brings a gap between you and your potential is comparison. I am the worst one. They look better than me, so I ain't coming out. Oh, they have on the same dress. They buy the same wigs I buy, so I ain't coming out. Others are better than I am, so why should I want to grow? I was challenged when I was in school. Anytime I didn't come first, I made sure that just challenged me to go try to beat the person that beat me that term. I wanted to be better. The final thing that brings a gap between you and your potential is expectation. It's too hard. I didn't know it was going to be. I thought it would have been easier than this. Expectation is another thing that holds us back or puts a gap between us and our potential. To overcome these gaps and become intentional about your personal growth, you have to ask yourself, what do you want, or where do you want to go in life? to overcome those gaps of wrong teachings or wrong perception about things, or just a borrowed look on your life, is you have to determine what you want. What do you want out of life? What do you want? Are you satisfied here? My wife told a testimony in our Christmas special, and she said because she came from a poor family, and she figured education was her escape from that demographics, that style of life. And so she pushed herself in education to get out of it. In order for you, Bishop Curry said something to me that I thought is very profound. He says, when you've been taught wrong, you have to be untaught. In other words, the wrong thinking wind you up. And so in order for you for space to be in there, that have to be wound out. Some people believe some things, and like the person that taught them the wrong things got to be the one to tell them, hey, what I was teaching you was wrong. So you got to be unwind. So here we go. In order to overcome the gaps that wrong teaching has placed in your life. You ever notice how we get so far and just like it stops? Everything stops. It is because of the wrong thinking that has possessed our lives. The assumption, the knowledge, the timing, the mistake, the perfection, the inspiration, the comparison, and the expectation. Those gaps have really brought down our life. You have to decide what do you want, where you want to go. A lot of times we settle for being smart. But is that as smart as you can be? Your drive every day should be to be the best version of yourself. That's when you're hitting the 100%, when you are the best version of yourself. If you're not being the best version of yourself, something is wrong with that. So, in order to deal with the gaps that wrong teaching, wrong perception, wrong information has brought in your life, you have to determine what you want in this life. Now, I'm talking right up somebody's alley. What do you want in this life? And I want you to really take a sensible look into yourself. Not what Scott wants for you. What do you want for you? When you determine what you want for you, then you're going to stop doing what you've been doing, which has been bringing you nothing. It has brought you nothing for the many years that you've been doing it, and you're going to stop doing it because it ain't bringing you nothing. So, you determine what you want and where you want to go in life. Then, take your imagination and determine how far you could go in life. Lord, I love this one. I absolutely love this. What is the furthest you can imagine going? What or where is the furthest you can imagine going? How far you think you could go? How far, Scott, do you think phenomenal leadership can go? How far can it reach? How many persons can it reach? When you determine that, as soon as you determine what you want, how far your imagination can go, get moving. As soon as you determine it. See, you got to determine it. When you determine it, then you start moving. You don't move unless you determine it. See, because you got to know where you're going. You got to know where you want to go. You got to know what you want to be. When you determine that, then get moving. Motivation is not going to just show up. Motivation is not just going to hit you. There's a song that we used to sing it back in the old church. It says, every time I feel the Spirit moving in my heart, I will pray. Vision. Just when you see where it is that you go, when you can imagine how far you can go, start moving towards your growth. Motivation isn't something that someone can just pour on you. Motivation isn't something that someone just can pour on you. I can't just walk up on you and say, bam, I can motivate you. Because if it was that simple, a lot of people would have been motivated. If you could just go to them and pour the oil on them and say, you are, from this day forward, you are motivated. No, sir. It don't work like that. As soon as you identify where you want to go, what you want to do, in your imagination, see how far you want to go, start going. Leave. Start heading there. Just do it. To reach your potential, change from accidental to intentional. To reach your potential, to grow, you have to change from accidental to intentional. A lot of people is just gambling. The Florida lottery right now is about $1 billion. $1 billion. When they advertise the Florida lottery, they don't tell people 1 billion people already tried to win this and didn't win it. You know what they tell people? You could win $1 billion. The other thing that you ought to think about is 1 billion people did not get it or ain't gonna get it. So it's a risk. It's a chance. It's a luck. And that's where a lot of people is. So you have to change from accidental, from taking a risk that it might work out, and be intentional about learning. Don't wait for growth to come. Take the responsibility to grow. Don't wait for it to come. If you want a good figure, then you got to work out. I mean, you run into people that just born with it. Then there are others of us who got to work it. Some born with six-pack, but there are some of us who got to work for six-pack every day. Take the responsibility to grow. Rely on hard work rather than luck. Rely on hard work rather than luck. Take the risk instead of playing it safe. It's time to step out. It's time for you to step out. Step out and do what? Step outside of your comfort zone, because growth has to be intentional. You got to be serious about growth. You got to plan for growth. You got to go there and find things for growth. Stop playing it safe. Rely on your character rather than your talent. Rely on your character rather than your talent. Never stop growing and never stop learning. If you want to enjoy happiness, you have to never stop growing and never stop learning. Anything that's not growing is dead. Anything that's not growing is dead. And the reason why we are so miserable and so on edge is because we're dead. We're not growing. And so it is important for us to grow. All right, I'm wrapping up. So tonight we dealt with the law of intentionality. The next time we meet, we're going to be talking about You must know yourself to grow yourself. That's the law of awareness. You got to know. You got to know how much you could take. And when you understand how much you could take, even the Lord said he's not going to put more on you than you can bear. But that don't mean you don't have to pick up more than you should pick up. So we're going to talk about that. You have to know who you are to grow to your potential. But you have to grow in order to know, to identify. For the lights to come on, you're going to have to be a growing person. So it's all about growth. It's all about growth. If you're not growing, ain't nothing's going on for you. But in order to enjoy the increase of 2023, you have to grow. You have to position yourself for growth. In order to become greater in size, greater in amount, greater in degrees, to change physically, to undergo a natural development by increasing in size, you're going to have to be prepared to grow. So, as I wrap up and leave you, let's run over them very quickly. Wrong beliefs create gaps between you and your potential. I want you to think about it. Which one of these is you? How many of these represent you? Is this how you think? Do you assume things just can work out? I just can. One day just boom. I don't have the knowledge, and so therefore I ain't going to go try to acquire it. Since I don't have the knowledge, I don't have to worry about it. This just ain't the right time. When is it? When is it the right time? I'm not doing nothing because I'm afraid to make a mistake. I don't know what is best practice. Man, just get going. Your growth, your survival has to become your inspiration. And guess what? Do not compare yourself to anybody, because nobody can do it the way you do it. Nobody could represent you and your expectations. Hey, I say to people, prepare or expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Whatever comes, it's all about growth. In order to grow muscle, you got to pump iron. And it don't always be easy to pump, but you got to do what you got to do. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget, next week, God's Spare Life, we're going to be dealing with the law of awareness. You must know yourself. First, you got to know you before you could grow you. That's what we're going to talk about next week, God's Spare Life. This coming Saturday, join me this coming Saturday for Morning Glory Saturday, and then Morning Glory Sunday. I got a great word that God has given me that I want to release on Sunday morning, talking about a perpetual fire. A perpetual fire. There is a fire that God has placed in the church. When at the baptism, Jesus said to them, John will baptize you with water, but I will baptize you with fire. There is a fire that man cannot bring. There's a fire only God can bring. And this fire is a perpetual fire, a fire that just doesn't go out. What has happened to the fire? It's gone out. But we're going to talk about that on Sunday, God's Spare Life. Hey, I want as many of you to come, be with me in my Morning Glory anniversary on February 12th, Sunday, February 12th at 7 a.m. Come be my Listen, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast today. I love you, really appreciate you. I thank God for you in such a special way. Just know this, that this year is your year of increase. God bless you and have a beautiful day.